Okay guys, so today we are doing the dumbbell concentrated curl. What we need to be aware of is that we're actually going to be creating both slight shoulder flexion and elbow flexion. Why this is important to us is because majority of the dumbbell curls that we do, especially when we're standing tall, as I am now, we are trying to pin and keep our elbows nice and cemented. So all we concentrate on all we concentrate on is elbow flexion. However, because of the nature of this beast, we're actually going to be slightly forward with our arm, which means that we're going to be engaging shoulder flexion. This will play a pivotal role in our stability and the execution of the lift, because if we start to lose our shoulder flexion, what's going to occur is we're going to sway during this exercise. So what do we need to know about the bicep? Well, we know that the bicep inserts up into our shoulder. We also know, it originates up in our shoulder and inserts down in our forearm. We know that our insertion will always move to our origin, which means that our forearm is always going to move to our origin. Right, that being said, how do we then go about creating shoulder flexion during this exercise? Well, what we want to do is that when we're in this position, or our concentrated curl, the biggest issue you see with this exercise is that people stay in this position here and they come up and down. Now what happens is that from about here to about here, it's a swinging effect because the weight is moving in a horizontal plane. It is not moving in a vertical plane. And we know that any weight for gravity to be an effect needs to travel in a vertical plane. So when we do this exercise from about here to about here, because it's in line with our center of gravity, is really not going to do a great deal at all. We're going to lose tension if anything. So what we want to occur in this position is that we want to create shoulder flexion. We want to take this hand just outside the line of our center of gravity. So by taking it from here to here and making that our start and finish point, we're going to get the most amount out of this exercise. It'll alleviate any swinging, and essentially it'll bring you right back down when it comes to weights, because the tension will stay through that muscle, and we know that a major component for muscle growth is time under tension. So setting up our concentration curl, because we have our ankles and our knees and our hips at play, we actually want to screw our feet in. Our knees are going to go slightly out. We're going to pull our shoulder blade back and down, and our hand is going to be, instead of directly in the middle of our feet, it's going to be slightly to the right or to the opposite foot. From here, we're going to tense up and think about taking our pinky out to the outsides of our shoulder. And the reason why we do that is that when we take our pinky to the outsides of our shoulder, we're going to engage our small head of our bicep, which is going to give us a far better and greater contraction. So again, screw your feet in, elbow or arm slightly forward of our center of gravity. So this is our center, slightly forward. And we're thinking about coming up and curling to the outside of our shoulder. And it's a bad example, but outside of our shoulder. Now, what we need to make sure that we are not doing is that when we come back down, we want to control that weight. If we let it just drop and let gravity do its thing, you're going to put unnecessary strain and issue onto the joint itself and take the load away from and tension away from our bicep, which then renders the exercise useless. So we want to make sure that when we're coming up, that we're controlling on the way down. Our pinky's coming out to the outsides of our thing, and this is the position that we're coming out here. Now, another way you can think about doing this exercise is that you're actually taking the weight away from your body and coming back in. Away, coming back in, rather than being straight up and down. So again, take the weight away and back in. Away, back in. Now you can see that I'm using my hand as a rest. You can also use a bench. I would prefer you use the bench. Place your hand up onto the bench now. And now slightly move that elbow forward and come up like so. Exactly the same, except for the fact that instead of your weight being on your feet, you're going to transfer your weight onto the bench, and then all it is thinking about pulling that shoulder blade back and down, controlling the descent, and pinky up to the outside of your shoulder. And team, that is how you do a dumbbell concentrated curl.